Satyamev Jayate. So in this topic, we are going to discuss India and its neighbors. So let's get started. This is India. You're familiar with India. It is located in the continent called as Asia. Pretty much you are familiar with all these things. Now we are going to discuss first the geographical neighbors of India, and then we are going to discuss the political neighbors of India. Let's understand the geographical neighbors of India. Now at the top you have the Himalayas. Okay, we will discuss about Himalayas in depth in the coming chapters. Then in the west side you will find the Arabian Sea. Again we will discuss about Arabian Sea in the coming chapters. Then we have the Bay of Bengal in the east, right? And in the deep south you have the Indian Ocean. So as you can see, the Indian Ocean. We will discuss about all of these in detail in coming chapters, right? So what's next? We have already understood the geographical neighbors. Let's understand the political neighbors. So these are the political neighbors. India has 9 neighbors. Nine neighbors, right? And we will understand each of these neighbors and their boundaries and the boundaries shared by our Indian states with them, right? We are going to start in a clockwise direction. Let's start with China. Okay, so as you can see, this is China. Okay, this is our first country that we are sharing the border with. Now the reason I have selected China first is because we are going in a clockwise direction. Okay, we will start with China, and as you can see, this line in yellow, it's showing the boundary that is shared with India, and these are the states. Okay, these are the states. Now we will start from the north. At the very top you have the Union Territory of Ladakh. Then we have the Union Territory of Kashmir. Now you should understand this, the current status of Kashmir is it's a union territory, but Supreme Court has given the order that it should be converted to a state, but the center has not really acted upon it. Okay, so you should be aware of the current affair that you know whether Kashmir at present is a state or the union territory. At present it's a union territory. Then we have the state of Himachal Pradesh. Then we have the state of Uttarakhand. Then let's understand Sikkim. Sikkim is also there. And finally Arunachal Pradesh. So 1, 2, there are the union territories. 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 states. 2 union territories and 4 states, right? These are the places of India that shares the boundary with China. Okay, so what's next? So we are going in a clockwise direction. So we are going to select the state of Nepal. Yeah, Nepal. So Nepal also shares a significant boundary with India, and it shares the Indian states with the states like Uttarakhand. Okay, so as you can see, we have the states of Uttarakhand, then Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and Sikkim. So these are those states which shares the common boundary with Nepal. So we have 5 states and the border length is 1751 kilometers. You can also see the border length. Interesting. All right, moving on. Now we have the state of, we have the country of, I think, Bhutan. Okay, we are going in a clockwise direction. Bhutan. Now the border length is significantly small, that is 699 kilometers, right? And it shares boundary with 4 states, that is Sikkim, West Bengal, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. You can see Sikkim, West Bengal, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, right? 4 states. Then we are going to work on another country, that is Myanmar. Okay, so this is a huge boundary that India shares with Myanmar. And interesting thing that you have to know is that there was quite a movement between the states of Myanmar and the Indian states of Mizoram, Nagaland and Myanmar. There was a free movement of people between these states and the country Myanmar. But recently the central government has come with a notification that hey, let's close these borders because illegal migration, illegal arms trafficking, illegal drug trafficking is happening in these places. So let's close the borders and free movement between India and Myanmar. So now let's understand the states which shares the boundary with Myanmar. We have Arunachal Pradesh, Okay, at the very top we have Arunachal Pradesh, we have Nagaland, we have Manipur, and we have Mizoram. So these are those states which shares the boundary with Myanmar, right? And the border length is 1643 kilometers. So this is the boundary and these are the states. So what's next? Okay, we have the country of Bangladesh. So this is Bangladesh. And you should understand that this country shares the maximum border length with India. Okay, maximum boundary length with India. As you can see, the boundary length is 4096.7 kilometers. It's significantly higher than the boundary shared with China and even Pakistan. So this is at the top. You should always remember that. And the states which shares the common boundary are West Bengal, okay, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Tripura. So these are the whole bunch of states that surrounds Bangladesh. So let's move on to the next part, that is Sri Lanka. So this is Sri Lanka. Now obviously you can see we don't really share any kind of land boundary with Sri Lanka. However, there is a small thing called as the Adams Bridge which connects India and Sri Lanka. There is still water between the Adams Bridge, but it's a natural bridge, not man-made, but it still can be said that it's a bridge, right? This is Adams Bridge, or in terms we can say that's Ram Setu. Okay, Adams Bridge called as Ram Setu, which connects Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka, but it has some places where the bridge has completely sunken down. Okay, now there are a few interesting things that you have to know if you're studying for UPSC geography. The first thing is there is something called as Gulf of Mannar. Okay, so this is called as the Gulf of Mannar, which actually surrounds the area between India and Sri Lanka and around Adams Bridge. Now there is an important thing called as the Park Strait. Okay, so this is the Park Strait. Now the important thing about Park Strait is it is basically named after an Englishman who ruled Madras Residency. So this guy is a Britisher. His name is Robert Park. According for this guy, this particular strait was named after. Okay, and there are a few other things. The Park Strait is actually a connection between Bay of Bengal and Gulf of Mannar, and also there are a few other geographical things like Adams Bridge, which also connects parts of a Park Strait, and there is Pamban Island on the Indian side. Okay, there is Pamban Bridge, Pamban Island, which is located on the Indian side, which is also in Park Strait. Okay, so that's pretty much enough for Park Strait for now. We will discuss in later parts of our geography. Moving on. So we have moved on from Sri Lanka. Okay, so clockwise, then we have Maldives. Okay, so we are going to discuss about Maldives. So Maldives doesn't really share any kind of land boundary with India, just like Sri Lanka. It shares a water body with India, that is Arabian Sea, or we can also say Indian Ocean. Either it's Arabian Sea or Indian Ocean. Now Maldives is currently in news because it has irked the Indian government because of many reasons. We are not going to discuss about that currently, but it had created issues, and most likely a lot of questions about Maldives will come in exams. So let's move on from Maldives, because at present with regards to neighbors and this particular chapter, it's not really that important. So moving on to Pakistan. Okay, so next will be Pakistan. So as you can see, Pakistan shares a significant big boundary with India. Okay, and the boundary length is in 3,000s, that is 3,233 kilometers. Now, I'm sorry, one more thing. Okay, so as you can see, these are the states and the union territories which shares the common boundary with Pakistan. The Union Territory of Ladakh, the Union Territory of Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. So these are the union territories and states. 2 union territories and 3 states, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. Now the current status of Union Territory of Kashmir can change. So you have to be very updated on this particular matter. Okay, it is now a union territory, but it may be turned into a state because the Supreme Court has ordered the center to change the union territory status of Kashmir to the state. Okay, so these are the union territories and states shared with which shares a common boundary with Pakistan. Now we have one more thing, the boundary shared with Afghanistan. So as you can see, there's a small boundary that is being shared with Afghanistan. Now we will discuss about this thing in detail, but at present we just have to know it shares a small boundary with Afghanistan, which is around 106 kilometers. Okay, and it runs through the union territory of Ladakh, which was earlier known as Jammu and Kashmir. Right, so there is important thing that we also have to know. As you can see, I have marked the countries in the decreasing order of the boundaries shared with India. The first is Bangladesh. Bangladesh shares a significant boundary with India. It's the largest boundary any country that shares with India. Then it's China and Pakistan, Nepal, Myanmar, Bhutan and Afghanistan. Afghanistan shares the least boundary. Maldives and Sri Lanka does not share any land boundary with India. Right? Moving on to a topic called as the Indian subcontinent. Okay, so as you can see, this is the Indian subcontinent. Okay, this is the Indian subcontinent, and it shares a significantly large area. It's mentioned in 4 million or something. We don't have to remember all these. Okay, 4,220,000. It's not important for UPSC. Okay, it's not going to ask the exact numbers. Not important. Now, there are a few things that is mentioned in NCERT, so I'm just going to mention it to you. Right now, these are the countries which is part of the Indian subcontinent. Okay, we have once again Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. Now the two countries that is missing is Afghanistan and China. China is not part of the Indian subcontinent. Remember that China is not part of the Indian subcontinent. However, Afghanistan can be part of the Indian subcontinent or cannot be part of the Indian subcontinent, because some textbook do add Afghanistan as part of the Indian subcontinent. However, many textbook does not add Afghanistan as part of the Indian subcontinent. So go through the current NCERT textbook and if there is an MCQ, if Afghanistan is part of the Indian subcontinent, only mention the correct answer which is mentioned in NCERT book. Okay, only that is mentioned in the NCERT book. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's written in Wikipedia, if it's mentioned in Google, it doesn't matter. What is mentioned in NCERT is correct for UPSC. Okay, so it's on you. It's like a homework that you have to find if Afghanistan is part of the Indian subcontinent. Right? Now, these are the countries if we dissociate from India. So as you can see, all of these countries has been dissociated, and I did this because I can. We have a lot of graphics. So as you can see, all these countries have been dissociated from the subcontinent. Right? Now, as you can see, these are the countries: India, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, all the countries of the subcontinent. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 countries in the subcontinent. However, 9 countries are the neighbors of India. Right? Moving on. Now, you should understand there are few things that is mentioned in NCERT which is actually not correct, but we still have to learn. For example, the state of Bihar in India, okay, it is significantly larger than many of the countries in Europe. Okay, that is actually true, but it mentioned one country that is larger than Bihar, one country in Europe which is smaller than Bihar. It happened to be United Kingdom, which is not true. Bihar is significantly larger than United Kingdom. Right? But NCERT, the old NCERT mentions that Bihar is larger than United Kingdom, which is not true. Okay, so we are going with there are countries in Europe which are significantly smaller than the state of Bihar itself. Okay, let's go with Vatican, let's go with Luxembourg, Malta. So these countries are smaller than Bihar, but not United Kingdom. For some reason, United Kingdom is mentioned in NCERT, so which is wrong. Again, the state of Madhya Pradesh, okay, so this is Madhya Pradesh, is larger than a lot of countries in Europe. Right? Now, India is part of tropical system. Okay, we will learn about tropical system, but you have to understand that Indian subcontinent offers a lot of climatic variations. Okay, for example, the tropical rainforest. Okay, the tropical rainforest is found in parts of Kerala and even parts of northeast, right? Kerala and northeast. Now, dry deciduous forest is found in parts in the central region of India. Let's say you have Madhya Pradesh, you have parts of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, some parts. So, as you can see, dry deciduous forest, tropical rainforest is found in India. Now, at the same time, in the coastal regions, we can find this kind of forest. So, many countries in many countries you can find only one or two kinds of variations, but India has a lot of variations. Now, coastal mangrove trees are found in parts of coastal regions of Andhra Pradesh and even parts of Odisha. Then temperate forest or the mountain forest is found in parts of Jammu and Kashmir and even Himachal Pradesh, right? Now, arid climate region is found in the desert region of Thar and Gujarat. So, India and the Indian subcontinent offers a lot of variations in terms of climatic regions and forest, right? So, moving on. Okay, so this is again an important thing that NCERT mentions, that is why I'm just teaching it to you. Now, as you can see, the Indian subcontinent is significantly smaller than Europe, right? But NCERT does mention it as, let's say, without Russia, these two are actually quite comparable, even though Europe is significantly larger than India, but it can be compared, right? That's pretty much it on the neighbors of India and Indian subcontinent.